Hello. I am making this chronicle of my adventures through the Johto region in hopes that it will assist future trainers on their own quests. I can only hope that these records of my journey will assist you through the adventures and challenges you go through when you decide to explore the region that I have come to know as my home. So, without further ado, I guess we should start the first episode of my adventure off where it all began, New Bark Town in Johto. On the day I first got to say the words, "My name is LeaderofLuxinape, and I am a Pokemon trainer."
That's right, people. Hello everyone, I'm LeaderofLuxinape. Are you ready for my new Let's Play of Pokemon Silver version? Well, you woke me up. Will you check the clock for me? What time is it? It's actually 9 o'clock p.m. when I'm recording this, but I'm going to say 9 o'clock in the morning for something I'll tell you about later. How many limitations on old games text? 16? I'd be lucky to be up by 9:16. Hello, sorry to keep you waiting. Welcome to the world of Pokemon. My name is Oak. People call me the Pokemon Prof. Esser. This world is inhabited by creatures that we call Pokemon. People and Pokemon live together by supporting each other. Some people play with Pokemon, some battle with them. But we don't know everything about Pokemon yet. There are still many mysteries to solve. That's why I study Pokemon every day. Now, what did you say your name was? My name, as you saw thanks to that fanciful intro, is Luxon, not Luxo. Did I really just do that twice in a row? Luxon. Luxon, are you ready? Your very own Pokemon story is about to unfold. You'll face fun times and tough challenges. A world of dreams and adventures with Pokemon awaits. Let's go! I'll be seeing you later. Alright, I know you already saw me introduce myself before, but allow me to formally welcome you to LeaderofLuxinape's Let's Play number 3, Pokemon Silver version. Just so you know, this is not exclusively going to be of Silver. I will cover the differences between its counterpart game, Gold, and possibly at the end even discuss its differences with Crystal. So, without further ado, let's go downstairs and get ambushed by your mom, as per usual. Oh, Luxon, our neighbor, Professor Elm, was looking for you. He said he wanted you to do something for him. Oh, I almost forgot. Your Pokemon gear is back from the repair shop. Here you go. You received Pokegear. Pokemon gear or just Pokegear. It's essential if you want to be a good trainer. Oh, the day of the week isn't set. You mustn't forget that. What day is it? It is Friday. No, wait, it's not Friday. It's Wednesday. There we go. don't even know, so I think I'm going to say yes. Yeah. I don't really pay that much attention to the clock. Yeah, I know how to use the phone. Blah blah blah. Pointless tutorials as also per usual in a Pokemon game. But in only a few seconds we're going to be getting back already into the meat of stuff. Walking up here, you'll notice some guy peering in the window of Elm Pokemon Lab. So let's see what his biz is. Alliteration-ish. So this is the famous Elm Pokemon Lab. What are you staring at? And he pushes you back a whole 2 squares, which makes it so much easier to walk into the lab. Yeah, whatever. Luxon, there you are! I needed to ask you a favor. I have an acquaintance called Mr. Pokemon. Originality for the win! He keeps finding weird things and raving about his discoveries. Anyway, I just got an email from him saying that this time it's real. It is intriguing, but we're busy with our Pokemon research. Could you look into it for us? I'll give you a Pokemon for a partner. They're all rare Pokemon that we just found. Go on, pick one. Alright, so I'm gonna highlight a Pokeball, and then just go through a... Shut up, Professor Elm. Go through a quick bio like I always do for different stuff in my videos. Yes, Professor Elm likes sense. Okay. And in the middle of some of the bios, I might explain a couple of the other things that I'm going to do throughout this LP. So this is your fire-type choice, which is Cyndaquil.
Alright, so it looks like there is a thing in my videos where my mad paint skills haven't gone to waste. Okay, basically, that's the name in the top left corner. Underneath it is a little stylized box thingy with a type. Underneath the name and to the left of the type are the sprites from Gold and Silver. Gold is on the top or left when I have them next to each other. Silver is on the bottom or right. To the right of the name, ND is its national Pokedex number. That means if you're playing a Generation 5 game and you have obtained one of these Pokemon, that's the position it will appear in. JD is Johto Pokedex number. That is the number it will have in Gold and Silver. I am not putting the Heart Gold and Soul Silver numbers in. To the right of that is the picture. As you can see, the background is just a random drawing thing. Eventually I'm going to come up with standards for each type of Pokemon and possibly something special for legendaries perhaps. Underneath the picture or next to it in most of the other ones is a class. That's basically a description of its stats in a couple of words, like the way it battles. The first time we see each class, I'm going to describe it. So basically, special attacker means it's got special attacking moves. Pretty obvious. Basically, that's its strongest stat. That's what you're going to want to rely on it doing. The stats for class are taken from Generation 5 totals. So it's not going to be 100% accurate for Gold and Silver, but it should be just fine for the remakes because obviously none of these are going to be from Generation 5. Recommended moves for non-evolved Pokemon, it's just going to be one thing it can learn, one move it can learn before it evolves, one move it can learn not from leveling up, like a TM or HM, we'll explain what those are in future episodes, and one it can learn after it evolves in terms of leveling up. It evolves from a level up, like Cyndaquil, which evolves at level 14. So basically, first off, in lowercase letters, you have the name of the move. Then next to it, in uppercase letters, you have the type of the move. Then in parentheses, the way you learn it. And to the right of that, with all the slashes, it's the base power of the move, then the accuracy of the move, then the number of PP of a move. I'll talk about extra effects quickly when scanning over each move. Ember has a small chance of causing a burn, Mud Slap has a pretty darn large chance of lowering accuracy, and Quick Attack goes first most of the time. So that's pretty much to go through of Cyndaquil. It has a tendency to be the more attack-based starter choice.
Here you have your water type choice, also known as Totodile.
Here we have Totodile, the water type starter. National Dex number 158, Johto Dex number 7. The rest of these bios are going to be a lot shorter because all they're going to really do are a couple go-overs of the tank and talking about the moves, so you don't really need to do much. Basically, I kind of had to give Totodile the tank class with kind of mixed emotions because I couldn't really think of anything. Tank basically means it has a tendency to have high HP and somewhat exceptional attacks. Sometimes a good defense, like having good physical attack and physical defense, or good special attack and special defense, instead of having good attacks and somewhat mediocre defenses. Usually their speed is a bit below average, but it can strike ahead of a lot of things. It's basically built to take attacks and then deal out a bunch more damage. Now, the reason I made Totodile a tank, which was mostly based off of the stats of its final evolved form, was basically just because its attack stats and HP, not so much HP, mostly attack stats, are considerably higher than the rest of its stats, which made me immediately think of tank. But, as a water type choice, and following the good old tradition, it is actually the most balanced of the starters. It is the latest to evolve, but because it has such high attack and special attack, it is able to hold its own against some other evolved Pokemon by that time. Water Gun is just a normal move, nothing spectacular about it. Blizzard you can actually get significantly earlier in the game than in pretty much every other game. I think it's weaker in Gen 2 than it is in Gen 5. Gen 5 stats go for the moves as well. Pretty stinky accuracy, but 120 power and I believe chance of freezing, that doesn't really lie.
And last but most likely least is the grass type choice, Chikorita.
Now, for grass type and Chikorita fans alike, I'm going to do my best not to completely insult Chikorita every time. I just have a tendency to make fun of it because I choose Totodile a lot, and as you'll see, if you choose Totodile, you're going to be doing a lot of battling against Chikorita and its evolutions, and I always found them very easy to take out, despite them being the most defensive of the three starters. That's pretty much what dual wall is. If it's a physical wall or a special wall, then it tends to have good HP and physical and or special defense. Dual wall basically means it's got the majority of its base stats spread out evenly between HP and the two defenses. I think Chikorita has a bit lower HP than physical special defense, but either way, usually it takes a few attacks to take it down, so go for super effective if you can, obviously. Razor Leaf, it's a normal attack. Cut, also a normal attack, only spectacular because it's an HM, which, again, will be talked about in future episodes. It is actually the second HM that you will come across in the game. And Synthesis. Synthesis is a really good move. As you can see, there's dash for power and accuracy. It doesn't do damage. Since it doesn't really involve coming in contact with the opponent, there is no accuracy. 5 PP, still 5 PP. But the good thing is, it restores half of your max HP whenever you use it, so it's good for recovery, and especially a good choice to have on a defender, like Chikorita. If used in sunny weather, Synthesis will recover all of your HP, which makes things even better if you're running Chikorita on a sun team. That's pretty much it, and I actually made Chikorita not sound totally horrible like I usually try to do, so I'm very proud of myself right now. Brownie points. I don't know how to make brownies, that's not going to work.
Alright, now that we've ran through all three of them, I guess we can go to me choosing my my starter Pokemon for this LP. Not Chikorita, because I already dissed it once. Totodile. Yeah, that's the one part of this LP I actually have planned out. Okay. I think that's a great Pokemon too! You'll say that no matter what you choose. Yes, as with the tradition of Let's Players, I'm going to give all my Pokemon nicknames. Except stuff that I'll tell you I'm not going to give a nickname to when I catch. So, I'm going to do something a bit different than other LPers and actually have a theme to the nicknames I'm giving my Pokemon. This LP, it's going to be important characters from Egyptian, Norse, or Greek mythologies. So, for my Totodile, I'm going with probably my favorite Egyptian god, just for no reason, if the text box thing will obey. Sobek, god of crocodiles and rivers, because it's Totodile. End of story. Mr. Pokemon lives near Cherrygrove, the next city. It's almost a direct route to there. If your Pokemon is hurt, you should heal it with this machine. Oh, here's my phone number. Call me if anything comes up. We got an old guy's phone number. I feel so accomplished and popular. Luxon, I want you to have this for your average. And you receive potion. Not a potion or the potion. You just receive potion. Alright, so Mr. Shady Pants is there still. But now we can actually progress leftwards to Nostalgia! No, to Route 29, Cherrygrove City to New Bark Town. And here we have our first instance of tall grass. Walking through it will sometimes cause a wild Pokemon encounter, like this. And before I do a bio on Pidgeys, I'm going to go through a quick interface thing. Alright, 4 options in any battle. You have Fight, PKMN stands for Pokemon, Hack, which is your bag, and Run. Fight is to use your attacks to either inflict damage on your opponent or do a variety of other effects that I'll get into a bit later. Pokemon is to switch to one of your other team members, of which I only have one, so that's kind of pointless. As you can see, it'll just say that. Hack is to use items, which you can use to catch Pokemon, or heal yourself, or other things. Right now we only have the one potion, which will restore Sobek's HP by 20 if required. And lastly, Run is to escape from the battle without even having to fight. That can only work in wild Pokemon battles. There are some battles that you can't run from. So, now for this battle, I can actually go into a Pidgey bio.
Alright, here we have Pidgey, and the explanation of one of what is likely to be somewhere between the most common and the least common. As in, probably 1 out of every 5 Pokemon I'm going to bio is going to have this class. I use Pikachu because there's really no other way of describing it. Basically, if you watch the anime and you've ever seen Ash catch something or one of its evolutions, very high chance is going to fall under the Pikachu class. Because they all battle the same way a Pikachu does, by going really fast, having pretty good attacks, and dismal everything else. Which is I guess you could call it a sweeper, but sweeping you kind of need to be able to take attacks sometimes. So, yeah. Evolve same level as Totodile does. 18 is going to be the latest evolving level we're going to see so far. Gust, it's just a normal move. Double Team is another move that doesn't do damage. It basically increases your evasion, which means any attack will have a lower chance of hitting you. Double Team is, if you're in any way acquainted with the fandom of the games, has a tendency to strike supreme annoyance into the hearts of any player who hears it, because there is pretty much an entire strategy based on double team noobing, which basically means constantly using double team until there's no possible way your opponent can hit you, and just attacking so much they're just completely screwed. Lastly, we have Wing Attack, which is pretty much a more powerful version of Gust. Yeah.
Alright. Sobek's first two moves that it starts out with. You got Scratch, which is the better of the two moves that one of the starters will have. The other one is Tackle, which has 5 weaker power and an actual chance of missing. It's a basic normal type move, nothing spectacular. The other move is Leer, which will lower your opponent's defense and basically make it so that the next attack that actually can cause damage will do more damage. For these first couple wild battles, I'm obviously not going to be using Leer because I can take care of him very easily with just a Scratch. Let's see what we're going to find now. My guess would be another Pidgey. No, Sentret. Surprising.
And lastly, we have Sentret, the ongoing thingamajigger of normal types. Second member of the club after Rattata, and then to be preceded by Zigzagoon, Bidoof, and Patrat. Evolves level 15, so it's, I think, tied with Zigzagoon for the earliest evolving of the two. Patrat goes level 20, Bidoof level 18, Rattata I think level 22. I'm not going to put anything correcting me because I'm too lazy to check. And yeah. Also Pikachu. I am tending, if there's something that I just see no use in owning at all, I might just put weak or worthless for the class, just being a jerk. But even though Sentret has some considerably bad stats, I'm not going to put anything like that. I am going to fit it under Pikachu, because once it evolves, and you'll see the first time we come into contact with one, or one of its evolutions, it has a tendency to battle pretty good if you can get slower than it. I have used Sentret and then later evolved it on my team. The best part about it, you don't have to deal with Sentret's general abysmalness for very long, because it only evolves on level 15, which is early for a Pokemon. I mean, only if you evolve earlier than that, the only Pokemon that evolve earlier than level 15 that I can remember off the top of my head are bug types. And no one really uses bug types because general large amount of weaknesses, low stats. So Sentret and up is actually pretty good, especially for early in the game. Excuse me. You might want to just use one on your team and then eventually rotate it out and catch something else, but all in all, for the beginning of the game, Sentret is surprisingly good to use. Quick Attack is a normal, well, we've already said Quick Attack. Headbutt, do I have it up there anywhere else? No, I don't have it on any of the otherwise. Not only is it a very damaging normal type move for early in the game, but it does have a chance of making the opponent flinch, which basically means they won't be able to use moves for the turn. Next turn. Fury Swipes, it has 18 power. That is the lowest power you have seen so far. Lower even than Mud Slap, which I only put up there because it's like Double Team, except it causes damage, even though actually it does not always lower accuracy. Fury Swipes, when you use it, if it hits, because it has a tendency to miss too, it will actually attack from 2 to 5 times in a turn. That basically means you're doing 18 damage times a number between 2 and 5. So, works pretty well until you start getting into more powerful normal type moves like, well, Headbutt, because Fury Swipes always goes twice for you and 5 times for your opponent, and other stuff that I can't think of right now. Well, Facade isn't in Gen 2. Something like that.
Okay, so while I'm progressing through this route, I guess there's something cool I want to talk about. Oh, actually, critical hits. Basically, they do double the damage of a normal attack, not taking stat changes into account. And Sobek grew to level 6. Pretty good stats for that level, I guess. Alright, so anyway. Basically, whenever we run into a Pokemon, I'm going to bio it. That's just my rule. As you probably saw in the intro, unless you just skipped this part for some reason, you're probably going to notice that I've done narration. So far, only done one narration from the point of view of the character. I intend to do that a lot throughout this LP. Ooh, cool. The berry Sobek was holding recovered 10 HP. Some items have different effects when held, and you don't necessarily need to use them twice to turn in battle if they're held. So I intend to do at least one narration per episode and a lot more for important story events. Like, I can't really think of anything to put in right now, but you know what I'm doing. Another thing, something new in Gold and Silver versions that wasn't in Red, Blue, Yellow, or Green is a day and night cycle. That's why I chose 9 o'clock in the morning as the time instead of 9 o'clock at night. Basically, because there's some Pokemon that only appear during the day and some that only appear at night. Personally, I always record at night. And a couple of the Pokemon that I'm going to catch only appear during the day. So, if we do actually never run into a Pokemon wild, I will still bio it and just say it can be found in X route or X wherever at night. So, we have made it on to Cherrygrove City. And we're going to talk to this helpful-looking old man at the beginning of the next episode. So, until then, I am LeaderofLuxinape, signing off.